Unspoken Minds. Healing is the new flex. I'm your host, Nichelle Miller, and today's episode is for every student who feels overwhelmed by school. School pressure is real. Between grades, deadlines, tests, sports, expectations, and social media, a lot of teens are silently struggling. And what makes it harder is that stress doesn't always look like stress. Sometimes it looks like shutting down, snapping at people, missing assignments, procrastinating, or even feeling like you can't keep up. In this episode, we're talking about academic stress, confidence, burnout, and mental health, and how teens can protect their peace while still trying to succeed. So, if you ever felt like you're trying your best but it doesn't feel like it's enough, then this episode is for you. Before we start, I just want to confirm, is it okay if I record this conversation for my school podcast project?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Today, I am joined by Dr. Satin Pope, a 12-year educator with 9 years as a classroom teacher and 3 years as a math specialist. She currently works as a math specialist and has earned her bachelor's, master's, and specialist degree in early childhood education, a doctorate in educational leadership and educational technology, and a postmaster's certificate in educational technology. Okay, a queen with degrees, I see you.
Yes.
Dr. Pope has served as a grade level chair, various committee chairs, and tutor. And she brings a perspective that's really important, what teen stress looks like inside the classroom. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Pope.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
To start us off, from what you've seen, what are the biggest ways school affects teen mental health without students even realizing it?
It's really just I guess what I would say is like peer pressure. Like seeing social media has influenced kids. So like when they come to school, it's the social norm that make them abnormal. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a wonderful teacher who understands where some of the kids come from with stress of testing and how some people will actually have a mental breakdown because they're just worried about not doing well in school. So she
Right,
will
and I
like,
see that.
yeah, she will like give us fidgets, Play-Doh, and squishies. And I just wish that more teachers would do that, like to be open to doing things like that because it just really shows that the teacher cares.
Right. And that's why, as an educator, I try to make sure I'm like that safe space for the kids when they are having those emotional moments when it comes to like testing or just basically getting along with each other. So it's like, okay, you can come and talk to me. You need 5 minutes? Let's take them. Let's talk. Let me hear what you have to say. What's really going on? And let's work through this so that you don't have to bear the burden of that stress in that moment.
Yes, I totally agree. I just wish that teachers like really like understood for real. But what do you think adults get wrong when a student is not trying?
They assume that they just don't want to do it. It's an assumption of, oh, well, they're just being lazy. They just don't want to do it. Well, really, it's something going on beyond what we can see. But some adults take it as, well, I'm the adult, you're the child. I know you're just being lazy, so I'm not even gonna really ask you what's wrong with you.
Yeah. How do you tell the difference between a student who needs discipline versus a student who needs support?
So you have to honestly, it's all in relationships. You have to know your kid, and when you know like the typical behaviors of students, you're able to tell, hey, today this is what you're just having an off moment versus this is your normal routine of you come to school, you act a fool every day. So we need to give you some type of discipline versus having a child that you are in a right relationship with and you know their normal demeanor, you're able to say, okay, well, today you're a little off. What's going on? How can I help you?
Yes. What are like some signs in that it's mental health issue and not an attitude?
So I would say for me, mental actually experiencing this firsthand, like a baby, and I won't disclose too much, but he was having a mental health episode that day. So basically, his normal behavior, he's a real cool, normal, real chill kid. He comes to school and he's throwing furniture, cursing people out, all of the above.
Wow.
Unbeknownst to me, he has been diagnosed with something, with a mental disorder. But a normal, when I would say, I mean, to your question, if it was an attitude, I don't think it would have escalated to that point. It probably would have just been, maybe work avoidance or simply, well, I don't want to do it. Maybe a quick talk back, but to throw furniture, curse people out, walk out of that was a clear indicator of something beyond just the attitude.
Yeah. I just don't believe that it should like get to that point. And
Right.
and I just think like sometimes like grades and self-worth, like people like
Uh huh.
they don't really like they don't have like a distance between the both. Like
Right.
sometimes you don't have to like put so much like hard work on yourself. But what do you think students like connect their grades? Like why do you think they connect their grades with their self-worth?
Because it's almost like if you don't do good in school, if you're not the one that's getting recognized on awards day, you're not the one getting the trophies, you're not the one even getting the certificate. And for some people, some kids, they see how the quote unquote smart kids or the kids with the good grades are rewarded and they want that. So
Yeah.
then that becomes an added pressure because it's almost like, well, I have to do well, I have to do good so that I can get what they're getting or I can be what they are. Not knowing that it's okay that some people are going to be the all A students. Some people are going to be the AB students. Some people are going to be the C students. And that's okay. You just work, as long as you're doing your best and giving your best is all you have to give.
Yeah, because I know like when I do badly on tests, I start to overthink things and I'm like
Uh huh.
if I didn't do well on this test, like how am I going to do it in real life, you know? And I just overthink it like a lot.
And even as adults, we do that. As you said earlier, I have all these degrees, but please believe, baby, I still overthink. I still come down hard on myself. Even when I was obtaining those degrees, it was almost like my mind was set on, I have to get an A, I have to get an A. But once you get in the real world, yes, you have to pass, but it's not the same stigma. Like they're not rewarding you for getting an A, they're rewarding you for passing.
Yeah.
So as long as you're trying and you're doing the best you can do, that's all you can do. Like give every moment your best, and your best is be better than your best. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. But now I want to talk about something that isn't always said out loud. The way school pressure can feel different depending on who you are, especially for black
Uh huh.
students. In your
Mhm.
experience, do black students experience academic pressure differently than other students? If so, how?
I will say yes, simply because of the factors that play into. It's a lot of external factors that play into the way that black students succeed. Other students just haven't worked with diverse groups of students. I will say that the kids are, when we look at black kids, they come to school with pressures that maybe their peers may not necessarily have. So like they have to worry about, well, did my little sister get on the bus? Did I wake them up? Did I make sure we all got up, we got a bath, we ate before we came to school? Whereas other kids may not have those pressures. They can solely focus on school, so they're a little more successful.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Like, I wish that people understood that black students, like, they're already, like, set back.
Right. And it's almost like having to prove that they're good enough.
Yes. Like, what would you say, like, some ways black students' stress gets misinterpreted in school, like being called disrespectful or lazy, when it's just really overwhelmed?
Well, I think that plays into the whole stereotype of black people being aggressive and having attitudes. When really It's not that. you know,
Yeah.
it's really just a misunderstanding. So with that, I think it forces the black kids to kind of work harder to prove that they aren't what people think they are, or to create a different appearance or a different narrative of who they are and what they appear to be.
Yeah, because I know that I'm not perfect, and I know occasionally I will miss an assignment or two. And I heard you say like black students like always are trying to be perfect, but for black students in honors slash AP classes, what mental or emotional pressure do you see, especially around being the only one or feeling like you can't make mistakes?
Because it's one of those things where I think the pressures are, it comes with, oh well, you're the smart kid, you're not allowed to fail, or you're not allowed to make bad grades, when really having just being able to take part in those types of classes is enough pressure within itself, because you have certain criteria that you have to stick to in order to pass those classes. But everybody else sees it as, well, if you were smart enough to get picked, you're smart enough to maintain. So it's that extra pressure of, well, hey, I can't fail because I am the AP kid, or I am the kid in the honors class.
Yeah, I kind of relate with that because when I'm in my AP classes and honors classes, I'm always trying to thrive and push myself harder than I need, but just because I am black. And I know
Right,
that not many people like me get the opportunity, so I'll just always try and do better, which will probably lead to stress.
right. Well, really, it doesn't even have to be that, because the brag tag in that is the fact that you are in the AP class or you are in the honors class. So that alone is bragging enough. So that extra pressure isn't necessary, because of course, it's unfortunate, but people will quote unquote hate because it's not them. But because you are that, it's almost like, what is it that I have to prove to you? I prove it by just being accepted into these classes.
Yes, I feel like that's the only like that should be our that should be our standard. Like we made it into the classes. Like
Hmm.
we obviously tried our best to make it here.
Right.
And I think
And
that should
had
be
what
like
it took to
enough.
get there.
Yeah. But what does real support look like for black students who are trying their best but still feel unseen?
I think it's one of those things where they have to have a peer group and, adults who can mentor them and show them, like, hey, you have this support, and creating a mindset of, it's okay to be wrong and it's okay to ask for help, because unfortunately, smart kids, black kids and every other type of kid, or smart people in general, is this thing of, you're so smart that you can't be wrong or you can't ask for help. But I think they just need people around to make them comfortable enough to ask for help and understand that, they have a support system.
Yeah, I heard you saying them being scared to ask for help. Like I know like some kids like in my classes like are always afraid to ask for help. Like what should teens do when they feel embarrassed to ask for questions in class?
Write a note. Look, put it on a sticky note and slide it to the teacher. If they
Yes.
don't want to answer out loud, like, hey, I'm struggling, or wait till after class, and or in the day of technology, just send an email.
Yes, I definitely think that like there's different ways to try and talk because I just don't
Hmm.
understand why this is such a huge issue. But I do have this problem in certain classes. Like I won't raise my hand or ask or answer questions just based on the simple fact of fear that I'm too scared to just get it wrong. But other
Right.
classes I will raise my hand. It just really depends.
And that's where it comes to the whole relationship and safe space type of environments that educators have to be sure that we create for students, so that you don't have that fear when it comes to not knowing something, or wanting to ask questions but afraid that your mistake will be judged or laughed at.
Yeah, what is something that teachers wish students understood about asking for help? Like how would they want us to ask for help?
Just ask. It's okay to ask. That's the biggest thing. Like we want you all to feel comfortable enough to ask the questions, and because it helps us honestly. Like we're only gonna assume that you know if you never ask the questions or you never say that you need help. We're assuming that you're right there with us. You got it. We can move on. But really, quietly, you're struggling. And unfortunately, for some, it's like I told you before, if the relationships aren't there, you won't know to ask the student because you don't know them. You don't know when they're struggling. But when you really know your students, you'll know, like, hey, let me push them a little harder to make them ask this question because I know they don't understand.
Yes, because I have friends who seek help and who don't, just because they don't want anyone to
Hmm.
know that they need help and they just wing it out on their own and stay lost.
Wow. And that's not healthy.
Yeah, I don't think that's healthy either. But for our last and final question before we move on, if you could
Hmm.
change one thing about school culture to protect teen mental health, what would it be?
I would say that all educators are somewhat trained on how to cultivate relationships with kids. Like understanding that yes, you are the adult, but it's nothing to ask a kid how their day is going or ask them, well, how are you doing in this class? What is it? Is there anything I can help you with? Like having that genuine care to where students don't feel like they're in it by themselves.
Yes, I understand that. But all right, Dr. Pope. Now we're going to play a little game I like to call cap or fact. I'm going to read a
Okay.
statement and you'll tell me if it's cap or fact and explain a little why.
Okay.
Cap or fact? Burnout can look like laziness.
Hmm. I would say that's a fact because once you get to the point of burnout, it's almost like you can give off the I just don't care, I don't want to do it. When really it's not that. It's just that you're burnt out. So I will say that yes, it can look like laziness.
Okay. Cap or fact? Asking for help makes you look weak.
That's cap because asking for help, honestly, that makes you look stronger because it lets people know that you're not afraid to admit that you don't know something or that you need help.
Yes. Cap or fact? Smart students don't struggle.
That's cap. Being having once been a smart student, struggle is true and it's real. Like everybody is gonna have that struggle moment. You may not struggle as much as somebody else, but there is something out there that will have you biting your fingernails because it may be a little challenging.
Yes, there's always going to be something that makes someone stuck.
Hmm.
Cap or fact? Honor slash AP classes can increase anxiety.
I would say that's a fact because it's an added pressure on students who are enrolled in those types of classes because not only are you challenged at a different level, but you have to make sure that you're making the grades to be able to stay in those classes. And of course, everybody's waiting for the end to get that extra credit towards college.
Yes. Cap or fact? Black students are disciplined more than they're supported.
I'm gonna have to say that's a fact because oftentimes it's an assumption that the problem is a behavior issue or this something that needs discipline, when really it's just emotional support that's needed.
Yes, I totally agree because some people just think that we're there to play and that we don't come from a good
Mhm.
background, that
Right.
we don't know what we're doing. And I think that they just look at us and make their own opinions about us.
Yep.
Before our
Simply
last,
because of stereotypes.
yes, the stereotypes is definitely getting. Before our last and final question, some students are labeled problem kids when they're actually overwhelmed.
Is it this still cap for fact, right?
Yes.
I would say that's a fact Um, because sometimes it's just looked at as, oh well, they just want to avoid work, or they just want to, they're misbehaving just because they're bad, when really it's not that. They don't understand, and like you said before, they don't know how to ask for the help. So what they do, they tend to act out to get out of class, when really it's not they're a bad kid, or that they even want to misbehave, but they don't want to sit through the struggle, or feel like no one will help them while they're struggling.
All right, before we close out, what are your top three messages for teens who feel overwhelmed or like they can't keep up?
Top three. So number one would be that, hey, you are better than your best. No, don't let anybody else put that pressure on you. Like, regardless, you can regardless of what it is, if you set your mind to it, if you say, hey, well, I did this before, guess what? You will be able to do better or than your best on that. Second thing, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, everybody has struggles. It's nothing wrong with not knowing. It's nothing wrong with getting something wrong. But just know that you have people that you can ask for help. And the third thing is, let's see. I guess I would say, like, make you have a support group, like, be it friends or like peers, people older, teachers, like have people that you can go to, even if you don't say, like you said with the raising the hand in class, you don't want to do it in class, have somebody who can advocate for you. Or if you aren't able to advocate for yourself, have that group of people who may even be able to help you with the issues that you have, but if not, they can stand in the gap and speak up for you so that you're not feeling like you're struggling or you're in it by yourself.
All right, Dr. Pope, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you taking time out to speak with me and share your perspective.
No problem at all.
I know this is going to help so many teens feel understood and supported. And to everyone listening, before we end today's episode, I want to leave you with something important. Just a reminder, this podcast is for awareness and educational purpose only. It is not medical advice. If you are someone or you know someone who is struggling, please talk to a trusted adult, a school counselor, or a licensed health professional. Thank you for listening to Unspoken Minds. Healing is the new flex. Protect your peace, and I'll see you in the next episode.